My name's Joanna Parsons, and I'm the Director for Delivery and Impact at the Prince's Trust International. I'd like to start by acknowledging the sad passing of Her Majesty the Queen. We're profoundly grateful for her unwavering commitment to the UK, the Commonwealth, and all of the young people that we work with, and we do send our deepest condolences to our founder and president, His Majesty the King. So today I'm joined by colleagues from United World Colleges and United Nations Relief and Works Agency, where collectively we're going to take you through a journey of action that addresses thematic track 2, learning and skills for life and work and sustainable development. I'd also like to thank our UN member states, particularly of Malta and Rwanda, where we deliver some of these solutions in practice. As you may know, UNESCO has reported that the impact of COVID has caused the worst education crisis on record. At its peak, almost 1.6 billion learners were affected by school closures. However, recently we did conduct research with young people and the attitudes towards their future of work, and we found that young people were generally very, very positive about their future, but they needed more support in preparing for the jobs of tomorrow. So today, we'll start by speaking about young people's feelings towards sustainability in education, what they need to build sustainable careers, and how we can work to support them. We will then demonstrate tangible examples of how we can empower young learners and support them in developing key skills, such as literacy, numeracy, and digital, whilst also embedding climate literacy and sustainability into all of these interventions as well. Importantly, we'll demonstrate how these interventions need to be flexible, adaptable, and inclusive to ensure that all young people are included on this journey. This will build up to the main part of our session this afternoon, where we'll give a demonstration of our digital simulation game and where delegates will see in real time how the Sustainable Enterprise Challenge actually works. This is intended to be interactive, high energy and engaging, so please do get involved when we come to this activity. Thank you for your time, and with that, I would like to hand over and introduce you to Faith, the Executive Director of United World Colleges, to begin his session.
Thank you very much, Joe, and thank you everyone for joining us as well today. Firstly, I'd like to join our partners at Prince's Trust International in expressing our sincere condolences to the UK royal family on the passing of Her Majesty the Queen. The Queen was a friend of UWC, and she was patron of our founding college, United World College of the Atlantic in Wales. And His Majesty the King also served as president of UWC for 17 years, from 1978 until 1995. And so our hearts and our thoughts are with them at this moment. My name is Faith Abiodun, and I'm Executive Director at UWC International. And I am delighted to be joining our partners today in presenting our solutions on the thematic track 2, learning and skills for life, work, and sustainable development. We particularly want to emphasize how we are empowering learners with knowledge, with skills, with values and attitudes to be resilient, adaptable, and prepared for an uncertain future, while contributing towards human and planetary well-being and sustainable development. In the next few minutes, I will speak about some findings from a 5-year study conducted by researchers at the Harvard Graduate School of Education that presents a bit of a theoretical basis for our conversation today, and would also showcase how invested we are in the subject of sustainability in education and through education as a vehicle for preparing generations of young leaders who would leave the world in a far better place than they found it. And I'm pleased to be joined as well by some of those young leaders from countries like Thailand and Tibet and China, India, etc., who are showcasing in this room just a practical example of how sustainability can be used as an anchor to developing entrepreneurial skills for young people. So firstly, United World Colleges is a global education movement with a 60-year history. And that 60-year history has given us a chance to invest in high-quality transformational education for young people from all socioeconomic backgrounds, with a specific focus on young people who are coming from marginalized backgrounds, conflict-affected backgrounds, climate at-risk backgrounds, refugees, and several other categories of people. In any given year, there will be more than 11,000 people who experience a UWC education on one of our 18 schools or colleges across the world, or through our several short courses. And over the last 60 years, we've had abundant anecdotal evidence of the transformational impact of UWC education on the lives and careers of young people. But we wondered what elements of our educational experience was most impactful in helping young people develop the skills, the attitudes, the competencies for pro-social and ethical leadership in the world. And we wanted to know how we can do even more of those things once we could identify that through research, and how we can inspire other education players to do the same. And so in 2017, we partnered with the Harvard Graduate School of Education through Project Zero, one of its research centers. And this 5-year study that we conducted across students and alumni featured more than 13,000 participants. And this gave us really the basis to really understand what it is that we were doing very, very well. Now, we found lots of lessons that came out from this research, and 9 lessons in particular were emphasized on our website. And if you're really, really interested in the entire study, you would find this on the UWC website, uwc.org. Now, on this 9 lessons that really stood out to us, of course, we've called out sustainability at the top because that really speaks to the subject of this session. And there are lots and lots of things we're going to speak about on the subject of sustainability. But the other lessons that kind of stood out to us included a focus on deliberate diversity, which is one of the hallmarks of UWC education. The fact that we seek students from all backgrounds in as far different parts of the world as we can. Autonomous learning is one of the really core elements of our education as well. We encourage young people to be active players in designing their own education experiences and feeling a sense of agency. And that plays out in practice in what we do. Service learning is very, very important. It's one of the things that we found as most influential in inclining people towards a lifetime of service, not just to self, but to community, to the environment, etc. There are lots of other things that really stood out for us in the course of this research. But what we found most interesting was the call out on sustainability. The UWC mission states that we make education a force to unite people, nations, and cultures for peace and a sustainable future. And so sustainability is written right into our mission statement. And our community was very, very conscious about the need for us to be even more focused on sustainability over and above everything we were already doing. We would have thought we were doing quite okay, with room to grow, but the research, showed that people thought we had a lot of room to grow. And so that's really the basis on which we'll be showcasing what we have been doing in sustainability and bringing to light a bit more practice of what we think we can do further. So 4 key areas stand out to us in our approach towards sustainability education. Firstly, is really doubling down on climate-focused education, because you have to teach from a specific angle. We want to help people really understand what sustainability looks like in practice. And so that's the first piece of the work that we're doing. Secondly is in the infrastructure, the arrangement of our spaces and how we build, how we maintain spaces, and how we invest in reducing our own carbon footprint. That's core to the work we do. Thirdly, it's really elevating the voices of young people who are present in those climate at-risk areas and ensuring that their stories are heard and their actions are visible. And then fourthly, it's how we really encourage communities around our colleges, around our spaces across the world to be more sustainable in their habits. And so I'm going to do a bit of a deep dive into some of the actual practices that we do for a few minutes. So I'll speak first of all, you can go to the next one. I'll speak first of all about our colleges and our campuses and how they are organized and some of the practical things you will see in our green initiatives. We have colleges across the world. In Europe, there are 7 of them. In Asia, there are 6. In the Americas, there are 3. In Africa, there are 2. So really, we're quite diverse in where we're located. In Singapore, for example, our college, then you look at this chart you can see on the screen, really shows a 10-year tracking process of carbon reduction on our colleges. And in Singapore, the college was very, very determined to become a more sustainable campus. We have 2 physical campuses in Singapore. And the first campus is a 50-year-old building, which, as anyone who's worked in building construction knows, it's hard to turn around a historical building. And we have some old castles as well, so think about a big challenge. But in Singapore, there was a 10-year tracking program that wanted to really understand our carbon footprint, our water usage, our electricity consumption, etc. And the college has done a lot of work to turn around that process. So firstly, how did we begin to turn around this process? By tracking water and energy consumption, by becoming more efficient in how buildings were constructed and adjusted over time, by controlling food supplies and rationing waste management, by producing renewable energy on college campuses, and then by teaching students about sustainability in the course of the work that they did. And this has all led towards cost savings, as you might imagine, when you go down this route. Now, according to the energy agencies in Singapore, we are now, this college is consuming 60%, is using 60% lower energy than any other educational institution in Singapore of a similar footprint. And so we're very proud of that. But more importantly for me, it's the actions that are being taken. The image you can see on screen there are children from the school at the sustainability dashboard, really looking at the emissions tracker. And you're not just building in a more sustainable way, you are teaching young children about the activities of the campus and the leadership to reduce their own footprint. So you can imagine how these children will grow up over the course of their lifetimes, being mindful, being very, very conscious of the impact of their actions on community. A very tangible example for me was when I spoke with the head of sustainability at the college, who talked about, staying in the parking lot when parents come to pick up their children and reminding them to turn off the car engines while they wait for the kids to come in the room because that is emitting carbon in the atmosphere. It's those tangible practices, very, very small things. But those parents go home also reminding themselves that they have to be more conscious of their actions and how their children are watching them. Across our other colleges in Costa Rica, for example, we're building a new campus right now on the edge of a national park. And that campus is designed to care for and to really protect and regenerate 32 hectares of woodland in the country. And this would also protect animal and plant species as well. So you're building a campus not just to house a school, but to look after the environment. That's radical. That's not how you think about what schools are designed to do, but that's how we are thinking about it. And the college leadership is building with wood rather than concrete, because wood, again, is more sustainable and better for the environment than concrete. And this is all part of Costa Rica's decarbonization plan as a country. So again, the college is very aligned with the national strategy to decarbonize. We have several other colleges. In India, for example, a college that is built on a 71-hectare campus, and that college is home to 405 plant species, 90 bird species, 19 snake species, 28 mammal species. This is a school we're talking about, not a forest. But it shows, again, the intention behind the work that we're doing. In the student body as well, we've got a fire and rescue service that trains students on how to prevent wildfires. Again, part of the actions to help children come along with the national bodies and as well with the college leadership. It's a certified green campus by the Indian Green Building Council. I could go on and on. In Robert Bosch College in Germany, for example, we've partnered with an organization in Morocco that helps to offset the amount of CO2 that's emitted on campus each year by planting fruit and nut trees in Morocco. So again, the college has realized, has tracked its entire emissions and knows how much each student emits per capita, and is now offsetting that carbon footprint by planting trees in another part of the world. In Thailand, there's mangrove reforestation, etc. These are just examples of how committed we are in our building initiatives and in our climate strategies on campus. The second thing that we've done really is on the curriculum side of work, and I'll go a lot quicker here. Again, some of our colleges are trying lots of innovative approaches. In Canada, our college, Pearson College, has recently pioneered the Climate Action Leadership Diploma Program. And this is designed for young people who want to specialize in climate leadership at various levels. And this is a course that's accredited by the International Baccalaureate, and also it's done in partnership with a local university in Canada. And this is teaching people really about leadership actions for climate. In Maastricht, in the Netherlands, we have another program called the Sustainable Business and Entrepreneurship Program, again designed in partnership with the University in Switzerland. And it's designed to equip young people with the entrepreneurial skills, a showcase of which you're going to see in a different version today. But equipping young people with entrepreneurial and professional skills, relevant work experience, which is at the heart of what we're discussing. We have several other short courses and programs in our college in Atlantic, in Wales, for example. There's something called the Lighthouse Project. Again, it's designed to incubate student activities that lead them towards sustainable climate action. There's a Sustainability Council, actually, in the student body. Again, it shows the emphasis that we place on climate. Several other short courses that we have, several student-led projects, etc., are also part of the work that we do. Thirdly, I'll speak quickly about how we create space for students to demonstrate their own initiative and inspire others to want to do better. We have at a college in Japan, UWC Isaac, where students, received a $100,000 Zayed Sustainability Prize for their project designed to make their college a net zero college, the first of its kind in the UWC movement and first of its kind in Japan as well. It's a bold commitment, and they're working with local NGO partners in the corporate sector to think about how we can evolve our practices and our policies to becoming a more sustainable campus. In a college in Armenia, UWC Dilijan, there's a student-led initiative that's equipping young women with sewing skills so we can eradicate the use of plastic bags and move into more fabric-based bags, which are again better for the climate, for the environment. And finally, for us is the fourth line of action for us. It's really elevating the voices of young people, especially those who are coming from climate-threatened backgrounds. One of our alumni from UWC Robert Bosch College in Germany, Selena Lim, who's from the Marshall Islands, again, one of the nations that's most threatened by the climate, by a climate crisis. And she had a stage at COP26, really speaking in an impassioned manner about calling out leaders for actions that they need to take for the environment. We have other students as well from UWC Maastricht in the Netherlands who've had audience at the ICJ, again, speaking out about how we have to do better for the climate. We have to elevate their voices and the voices of several other people like them. I'll bring this all to a close and begin a transition now by talking about the fact that the UWC educational program inspires students from all also not think we have students who are coming from refugee backgrounds, and from inception we have always respected and elevated the voices of refugees. And so we are committed to thinking about how our sustainability actions can scale not just from high-powered classrooms but into refugee camps, into programs in low-cost areas. And I'm going to introduce the next video from one of our partners through Princess Trust International, UNRWA, speaking again about the work that they have done with refugees through the partnership with the Princess Trust International. So let's listen to this quick video, and then we come back in the room for the next phase of our action.